In a world of mirrors, the man who shows his true face is the only one who can be blindfolded. Imagine, for a moment, the court of Louis XIV, where a single stumble in conversation or a momentary tremor of the hand wasn't just a social gaffe, it was a death warrant for one's influence. The Sun King understood a dark, fundamental truth about the human psyche that we have foolishly forgotten in our age of radical transparency. Vulnerability is not a bridge to connection, but a map for your executioner. We're told today that opening up is a sign of strength, a modern virtue designed to heal the soul. Yet this is perhaps the most successful deception ever orchestrated by those who seek to control you. Nature does not reward the exposed nerve. The predator does not offer sympathy to the limping gazelle, it offers an end. When you reveal your weakness, you are not being authentic. You are handing over the keys to your internal fortress and providing a blueprint of your cracks to people who, by their very nature, are designed to exploit them. This is the silent law of the social shadow, a mechanism of power that operates beneath the surface of every handshake and every honest conversation. If you stay with me, I will peel back the layers of this psychological masquerade, revealing why your greatest protection is the silence you keep, leading toward a final, chilling realization about the person you trust most in this world. The human mind is a predictive engine, constantly scanning its environment for leverage. When you disclose a fear, a past trauma, or a present insecurity, you are providing free data to the subconscious processors of everyone around you. They may not even realize they are doing it, but their brains are filing that information away under the tab marked vulnerability. In the immediate moment, they might offer a nod of empathy or a comforting word, but the dynamic of the relationship has shifted permanently. You have moved from a position of unknown potential to a quantified entity. You are now predictable, and in the high-stakes game of human existence, to be predictable is to be manageable. Think of the concept of the panopticon, the circular prison where the inmates never know if they're being watched, so they eventually begin to police themselves. By keeping your weaknesses hidden, you become your own panopticon. You project an aura of total self-containment that forces others to treat you with a cautious respect. They do not know where your boundaries end or where your breaking point lies. This ambiguity is your greatest asset. It creates a psychological buffer zone where people must guess your reactions rather than calculate them. But the moment you whisper your secrets, that buffer evaporates. You become a known quantity, a puzzle that has been solved. And once a puzzle is solved, it is usually discarded or manipulated. We must understand that mercy is a luxury of the victor, not a right of the participant. Many believe that by showing their wounds, they will invite healing from others. This is a catastrophic misunderstanding of social Darwinism. In reality, showing a wound often acts as a blood trail for the sharks of the corporate, social, and even romantic worlds. They see the blood, and while their conscious minds might feel pity, their primal instincts sense an opportunity for dominance. It is a subtle shift, a promotion you're overlooked because they know you're going through a lot, or a partner who begins to use your past insecurities as a subtle anchor to keep you dependent. Every secret shared is a debt incurred, a hidden tax on your future autonomy that you will eventually have to pay. There is a concept in dark psychology known as the information asymmetry, where the individual who knows more holds the invisible leash. By remaining an enigma, you maintain the asymmetry. You are the observer, while they are the observed. This isn't about being a villain. It's about recognizing that the world is a theater of competing interests. Even those who love you carry their own shadows, their own unacknowledged desires for control. By refusing to show the chinks in your armor, you prevent them from the temptation of exploiting you. You are, in a sense, protecting them from their own darker impulses by remaining a person of impenetrable substance. Consider the metaphor of the deep ocean. The surface is turbulent, shifting, and influenced by every passing wind, but the depths are silent, pressurized, and absolute. Most people live their lives as the surface, reacting, splashing, and revealing every ripple of their internal state to anyone who glances their way. But the elite, those who truly master the art of existence, operate from the depths. They understand that the more you speak of your struggles, the more you diminish the power of your character. A problem spoken is a power surrendered. This leads us to a deeper, more uncomfortable truth about the nature of human sympathy, a secret we will uncover shortly that changes how you view every supportive person in your life. The currency of the modern world is attention, but the currency of power is mystery. When you reveal a weakness, you are trading your long-term power for a short-term hit of validation. It is a poor trade. The relief you feel after venting or confessing a failure is merely the brain releasing dopamine as a reward for seeking social cohesion, but it leaves you structurally weaker. You have effectively offloaded your internal tension onto someone else, but that tension was the very thing keeping you upright and sharp. By externalizing your struggle, you lose the necessity to solve it internally. You become a parasitic emotional entity, leaning on the perception of others rather than the reality of your own will. History is littered with the corpses of those who mistook a confidant for a sanctuary. Take the fall of great empires or the collapse of powerful families. Almost always, the killing blow came from an insider who knew exactly where the wall was thinnest. In the Machiavellian sense, a friend is simply a future enemy who currently lacks a motive. This sounds cynical only to those who refuse to look at the darker corners of human history. The moment your interests diverge from those of your confidant, every weakness you shared becomes a weapon in their arsenal. They don't even have to use it maliciously. Sometimes the mere knowledge of your weakness changes their perception of your competence, leading to a slow, silent erosion of your status. We are entering a phase of our journey where we must look at the altruism paradox. Why do people want you to open up? Is it truly for your benefit, or is it because a vulnerable person is easier to categorize? When you are a black box, someone whose internal workings are hidden, you are a threat to the social hierarchy because you cannot be placed. People will push you to be vulnerable because it makes them feel safer. They want to know your trauma so they can understand your triggers, not to avoid them, but to navigate around you, or, if necessary, through you. This is the velvet glove that hides the iron hand of social calibration. Silence is not just the absence of noise, it is a tactical vacuum. When you refuse to reveal your pain, you leave others to fill that vacuum with their own projections. If you remain stoic and unbothered, they will project strength onto you. If you remain silent during a moment of failure, they will project resilience. You are effectively hijacking their imagination, forcing them to build a version of you that is far more formidable than the reality. This is the core of the great mask. We are all flawed, we are all breaking in some way, but the person who wins is the one who refuses to let the world see the cracks. The cracks are where the light gets in, but they are also where the blade enters. As we move closer to the final revelation, we must address the mirror trap. Many believe that by revealing a weakness, they invite others to do the same, creating a bond of mutual vulnerability. This is a high-risk gamble with a low probability payoff. More often, you reveal your hand, and the other person simply observes it, keeping their own cards pressed firmly to their chest. You have just engaged in unilateral disarmament in a world that is constantly rearming. You have given them leverage insurance. If things ever go wrong between you, they have the nuclear codes to your emotional well-being, while you have nothing but the memory of a conversation. There is a specific type of dark psychology utilized by manipulators called the pity play, where they reveal a false weakness to bait you into revealing a real one. They will tell you a manufactured story of their own struggle to lower your guard. It feels like an exchange, but it is a trap. They are trading a pebble for a diamond. Once you have reciprocated with your genuine insecurity, they have won. They now have a handle on your soul, a point of entry they can use to guilt trip, gaslight, or steer you in the direction they choose. Never mistake a reciprocal confession for a safe harbor. It is often the bait in a very sophisticated trap. The true cost of revealing your weakness is the death of your iconic self. We all have a public persona, an image that moves through the world and negotiates on our behalf. This persona is your shield. When you be yourself and show your flaws, you are melting down your shield to make a mirror. You might see yourself more clearly, but you are now standing naked on the battlefield. The world does not fall in love with the real you. It falls in love with the version of you that it can admire, respect, or fear. By keeping your weaknesses private, you allow your iconic self to remain untarnished, a beacon of competence that opens doors that your authentic self would find locked. This brings us to the shadow integration of the Stoic. To never reveal a weakness is not to pretend you don't have it. It is to deal with it in the dark, alone, or with a professional who is paid for their silence. It is about maintaining a standard of self-reliance that borders on the absolute. When you solve your own problems without broadcasting them, you develop an internal sovereignty. You become a country with closed borders and a strong internal economy. You don't need the aid of external sympathy, which always comes with strings attached. You are free because you are self-contained. But there is a final layer to this, a secret that explains why even your closest allies might subconsciously want to see you fail. It is the competitive compassion theory. When you share a weakness, it elevates the other person's status. For a moment, they are the